If you're looking for another way to engage your students in class, look no further than Whiteboard.chat. This online free tool comes with so many different ways that students can participate in your lesson. So once you go to Whiteboard.chat, you're going to see this screen. Just click Start Drawing and it will take you to a mini menu, Start Teaching. And this is my instructor board. Now, if you go into the avatar, you can sign in with your Google account. Same thing for the settings. You can sign in with your Google account. So that's why I have my Google avatar there. I want to show you this from a student side as well. So I'm going to click Invite. There are different ways you can invite your students, but I'm going to click on the link. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over and create a new window as a student so that you can see both sides simultaneously. So I'm just going to paste this here. And now I am the student. You can see I was added here. You can name your instructor board. You can also come down here and rename yourself. I'm just going to leave this like this. But you can see that on my instructor board, as I move my mouse, students can see on their boards what I'm doing. So I want to just go over some of these functions with you so you can see them. This first button is managing your boards. If you click on it, you can see all the whiteboard sessions that you've held. You can reopen some of these, you can delete, you can preview. So for example, this top one, I did a do now with my students. I can see each individual student's board and what they did for that day and that hour. Each student has their own specific link in Whiteboard.chat, so that file, that board, is stored under here. So if I go back to my main page, I'll also see that underneath you can select different grids or backgrounds for your whiteboard. So let's say I want to work on some math. I can select a graph background. There's big grid, there's a smaller grid, and you can see that whatever I have on my screen is going to duplicate itself to my student's screen. One thing I do want to show you is that you can toggle the replication to students. So by default, what I do is if I were drawing something, this would show up on the student's end. Now, if I want to click on toggle replication students and disable that, it will tell me so that if I do it again, it won't show up on the student's end. So that's another function that you can do where that would be helpful. Maybe you just want to demonstrate something and not have it show up on their end. You can also click on the little cog and have them only see simple tools, or you can have them have different permissions also on their end. So I'm just going to go back to the regular blank grid so you can see better what is going on. The home page will take me back to the first page that we went to where it says Start Teaching. So I'm just going to skip that for now. If I hit clear, it will ask me, do I want to clear the board for everybody? And that's an option you can do too. So let's go down to the text tool just so I can kind of show you. You can either click text, or if you just put your mouse anywhere and start typing, that's test text here, and enter. You can see that the students see it on their end as well. Now the students cannot do anything with that text. However, if I am to go to the select tool and click on that, I can click students can move. That way, if I'm on the student side and I click on the select tool, I can select that text and I can move it in a different location if I wanted to. Otherwise, by default, the student is not able to move that text. So if I'm going to come back to the teacher board, I also want to let you know that anything that you put on your page or students put on the page, you can click and it's editable, resizable, things like that. So let's try something else. So we have also the download button where you can download the board, the whole class as a single PDF or each student's boards individually. If I am a student, I can only download my board. You're also able to send a copy of your board to a co-teacher, somebody else. You can publish it, you can delete, you can clear all the pages. So you have a bunch of different options here. This is the pause animations button, which I will explain when we get to that animations part. But if you click add media, you can take a picture with your webcam and paste it on your whiteboard. Another very useful tool is if you click on the little camera, add webcam audio, and I'm just gonna put test audio and then start recording. This is where I can record some instructions for my students to access as needed. Stop recording. And then you can play that back if you want to listen to it. This is where I can record some instructions. And then save. And then what that will do is have that there for students to access. So if I was a student and I were to click on this, this is where I can record some students can listen to that back. Now I will say that this is kind of glitchy, I've noticed. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So just make sure that when you do this, if you click on add webcam audio, and I put test 2, and I start recording and I'm saying what I need to say and I hit stop, you know it's working if this little playback menu pops up. And if you don't see this little play menu pop up before you hit save, most likely there's going to be some sort of glitch. So that's just a heads up on that part. If I come down to the move and resize and I click that, then I can click on any object and I can move it to another part of the screen, or I can make it bigger and smaller if I zoom in and out. So that's just another tool that you can do on your side. And again, the students can see that also on their side. One thing I do want to mention is any change you have on yours, something that's important to know is if you click the refresh, it kind of resets any action you've done. So for the students, like if you noticed, I moved my text on this side. I wanted to move it, let's say down here. Sometimes it seems glitchy on the student side, but if I were to select this and say, oh, I want to delete this. I want to delete this also. For the student to see it on their end, they might have to hit refresh for those changes to be made. So that's just another tip. So with the move and resize, you can just move your text or objects wherever you want. The select tool allows you to click on an object and it gives you another mini menu of things you can do. So if you want to lock an image in place, you can do that. If you want to clone something, you can just kind of clone it once, move it over. Another feature I want to talk about very briefly is the Animate tool. If you have an object or a picture, let's say I'm just going to use this star. And as a side note, you should make sure that your object or your drawing is one solid piece, connected piece, because if you have different parts, it will only do part of it. So I'm going to choose my star. I'm going to click the select tool and then click on my star. The little menu comes up. I can hit Animate Move, and then I can kind of draw a path, and it will then move in that animation. So if I click play on the side, it will move in that path that I already pre-drew. Now, if you hit pause, then it will stop. Students also have the ability to pause and play on their end. So that's something that they can do if they want to stop those animations. Now, if I do the same process, except I click on, let's see, select, click on the star, and then select rotate and play, it will also rotate. So it's another option. That's something if you want to add some animations to your board, or if you want to bring your students' attention to a certain location, that's something that you can do also. The wrench tool is another mini menu, and you have so many options in this. You can draw lines, arrows, and this is just, you can just draw them. If you want to change colors for anything, you can go to your palette and change the color. Now you're going to notice that when you change the color, your frame color also changes, it kind of threw me off at first, but it is what it is. And then you can kind of just continue to draw in different colors. So that is something that you can do with the palette. And the students can do the same thing. Also, if you click on the palette, you have another menu that comes up where you can have different manipulatives, stickers, pictures that pop up. So if I were to click on math, it can give me different objects or things that I can put on there. There are manipulatives also that you can use. If I wanted to use a thousandths block, put it there, I could do that also. So a lot of different things you can use to just kind of make your whiteboard a little bit more interesting to look at. And again, this is found under the palette tool. So I'm going to exit out of my palette tool so I can show you the rest of the tools here. If I want to add a rich text paragraph, I can click on the screen and I can type something more in a paragraph format where I can adjust my font size, the different styles of text, and do that, allow my students to do that as well. For the infinite cloner, this allows me to pick an object and just kind of drag with your mouse as many times as you want. You can just drag an object to duplicate it. So that allows you to duplicate an object on your whiteboard. Same thing as before, if I click the select tool and the mini menu comes up, I can have students clone also. So that is another option we can have our students do. Another feature of the wrench, you have a compass. So if I actually wanted to, use this as a way to draw an art or use that for geometry at all, that's an option there. If I go to the little wrench and go to add link and then click somewhere on the screen, I can click me or something and then write the address in, HTTPS. And then click save. Then on the student side, they will be able to click on that and it will take them to that page. Now, one word of caution, make sure you are putting the HTTP part, because if you don't, you'll notice that sometimes this just takes you to Whiteboard.chat. So make sure you include the HTTPS up front so that that's included. Also, another tip, if you want to erase that, what I would suggest doing is hitting select, delete, but you notice this little click thing is here, this little click button. Hit refresh and then that will go away. Now on the student side, they will have to hit refresh also for that button to go away. So that's something I figured out just by playing around with this. So just a word of advice there. So you can also add a YouTube video on here. Again, just click on the screen. And if I were to find a YouTube video that I liked, let's just go with relaxing Christmas music. Why not? And I hit copy and paste it here. Hit enter. Then I have that on mine and the students have that on theirs as well. So I'm going to pause this for this demonstration and then also pause it here on the student side. So that's just something you could do. Maybe you could post some instructions or procedures for a concept on the screen for students to view on their own. Also in this is if I go to the wrench and then go to the math thing, this allows me to do different math functions. So I can do x caret 2 for x squared, and you can just kind of write different things there. So you can just do whatever math equations you need to do, I would suggest playing around with this a little bit. Obviously, if you're a math teacher or do a lot of math, then you'd want to explore this option a little bit more. If I go back to the wrench and go to the dice, this is also something else that's kind of cool. I can select how many dice I want to appear. I can do one or I can do multiple. Also, and I know you can't see it very well here, let me see if I can change the color. Let me just make this black so you can see it a little bit easier. There's a little menu here, and actually let me just get rid of that thousands block. If you see the little menu, you can preset the roles if you want. And that, honestly, I haven't played with this too much, but you can just kind of put like, oh, I want numbers 2 and 3 to show up only. So then if I were to roll this dice, then one of those two would show up. So you can program it, or you can get rid of that and just make it so that all numbers show up. Just hit refresh. And I can add dice, more die to the group if I needed to. So that's something fun that you can do. In order to get rid of that, you just go to the wrench tool and then you can hide the dice. One thing I do want to show you is the polls tool. So this is kind of a cool thing. I'm just getting rid of the YouTube video really quick. If I click on new poll, I can select send link or send poll. So I'm going to put send poll, and I'm going to say, what is your favorite holiday? Question mark, space, and then give your answer. Halloween, comma, Christmas, comma, Thanksgiving. Well, after I create my question and answers, I can direct who I'm going to give this to. So I'm going to select the student and hit send. So then if I go to the student side, I can see that my teacher sent me a poll. What is your favorite holiday? Okay, let's say it's Halloween. So now on the teacher side, I can see their answer. It shows me their answers right there. So that's a pretty cool tool that you can do. Also, something really cool that I thought, that I found out about was the raising hand tool. So as a student, if a student raises their hand, let's say they're working on something on their board, and they raise their hand, as a teacher, I can see, oh, this student needs my help. So if I click on their name, it will take me to their board, and then I can see what they're doing, maybe talk to them, what do they need from me. And also, something that's cool about this is that you can, if you click on their name, you can create a chat with them. Click on the circle and say, you know, what do you need help with? And then the student will get a little notification and respond back, I don't know how to start. And then send. And so you can have a chat going on with the student too. One thing also I want to show you is that when you click on one of the avatars, you can also create a group board. And in this situation, you can select students to put in a group, and then they can collaborate. You can create a group name, and the 3 of those students can chat and work on something at the same time. Another feature that I really like is the timer tool. Let's say I want students to work for a set amount of time. I just set the timer, and what will happen is on their end, they will also see the timer there. And once that timer goes off, it beeps 3 times, and then it stops. So that's a cool feature too if you want to kind of send them out and work on things independently. If I want to send a link, I would go to my tab that says new poll. I can move down the little pull down menu, go to send link, and then I could, there's my alarm, and I could put a link in there. So www or https www.google.com, and then send the student that link. If I were to go to my student page, I would see that the link is there and all they would have to do is click on it. So you can kind of just send them a link in that way also. Another feature is the upload file. So if I want to click on the little image, what I can do is I can locate an image or a file that will show up, and students can use that to mark up if they want to. Another option is if you add a PDF, however many pages your PDF is, you will have that many pages in whiteboards also. So if this is a 2-page PDF, first page will show here, and then you will click on the next one to show the second one. And again, this is something that you can use if you want students to annotate or type in answers on a PDF that you already have. That is an option that you can do. And I think that's a really useful tool. Another feature that I really like about Whiteboard.chat is that if a student is on their end and let's say they are drawing something, creating something, they did some sort of work on their page, what you can do as a teacher is if you click on their avatar and then showcase, then what happens is everybody will see that student's work on their own boards. So you don't even necessarily have to like show their screen. It will automatically appear for the whole class on everybody's board. So I thought that was really cool. And then once you stop, you can just hit stop and then that's it. But that's something else that I found was really helpful. So hopefully this gives you some ideas. There are some more features. You can get more in depth with this, but I just think this is a good introduction, and I love that it's free, and the creators made it very clear they intend for this to stay free. So hopefully this was helpful, and I would love to hear how you use this in your classroom. Have a great day.